This week's parashot is Chukat-Balak Statute. Chukat is the 39th reading of the Torah. The word Chukat means statute. The name comes from the second verse of the reading, which says, "This is the statute of the law, which Elohim has commanded." Chukat presents the mysterious laws of the red-heifer ceremony for purification after contact with human death. This story also continues with Moses striking the rock, the stories of the death of Aaron and Miriam, and the war with the Amorites. And Balak was the name of a Moabite king in the days of Moshe. It is also the name of the 40th reading of Torah. It comes from the second verse of this week's reading, which says, "Now Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites." Let's begin. Numbers 19:11 reads, "Anyone who touches a corpse, no matter whose dead body it is, will be unclean for 7 days. He must purify himself with the ashes on the 3rd and 7th days. Then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself on the 3rd and 7th days, he will not be clean. Anyone who touches a corpse, no matter whose dead body it is, and does not purify himself, has defiled the tabernacle of Elohim. The person will be cut off from Israel, because the water of purification was not sprinkled on him. He will be unclean. His uncleanliness is still with him. If you touch a dead corpse, it is a sin, and you must go through the process of purification. If you touch a dead corpse and do not go through the purification process, it is a sin to Elohim and you are unclean. What else do we do that defiles Elohim? We may not touch a dead corpse, but we may do other things and defile his presence, and defile being around Elohim, and defile being around anyone who has contact with Elohim. It is not appropriate for us to be around the holy if we are unholy. So why do we as unholy beings attempt to come around the holy and have an expectation of being blessed? Chapter 20 reads, "The people of Israel, the whole community, entered the Zin desert in the 1st month, and they stayed in Kadesh. Then Miriam died, and there she was buried. Because the community had no water, they assembled themselves against Moshe and Aaron. The people quarreled with Moshe and said, 'We wish we had died when our brothers died before Elohim. Why did you bring Elohim's community into the desert? To die here? We and our livestock? Why did you make us leave Egypt? To bring us to this terrible place without seed, figs, grapevine, pomegranates, or even water to drink?' Moshe and Aaron left the assembly, went to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and fell on their faces, and the glory of Elohim appeared to them." This is interesting because Miriam was believed to be the provider of water. It is her spirit that brought them nourishment. It is her spirit that continued to nourish the people. Her temperament, her actions, her reactions, her interaction with the people kept them nourished, just as water was their main point of physical purification and nourishment. She was seen as a leader amongst the people. But it's interesting to note that many of the scriptures have been inaccurately translated from the Edenic language to the Hebrew, from the Hebrew to the Greek, from the Greek to the Latin, and from the Latin to the English. They've been inaccurately translated to portray certain characters or personalities in a way that they were never set up to be portrayed, such as women in the scripture. We tend to see Miriam as a leader amongst the people, but we also see the point where she criticized Moshe for bringing his wife back to the tribe. She criticized him for bringing this woman of means of education amongst the children of Israel. Often this is seen as Moshe brought a black woman, but nowhere in the Hebrew is that stated. just as with Mary Magdalene, who has been seen as a harlot, who has been seen as a woman of ill repute. And then they bring up the story where she perfumed or brought an alabaster box of perfume and anointed the feet of Yeshua. The translators have made the decision to lessen the purpose and responsibility of Mary Magdalene. For if you go back into the scriptures, into the readings, and read about her involvement, she was an apostle. She was a follower of Yeshua. She also tended to the women as well as the men. She also held Torah studies. She also did many things for the people. But in an attempt to lessen her prominence, in an attempt to put her down, in an attempt to adjust what you see or the way you see her, they wrote her in as a prostitute. Isn't it interesting that throughout time the translation has changed? And though this is the word of Elohim, man has changed the word of Elohim to be presented their way, from their perspective. What other areas of the scripture do you think have been translated wrong? In Hebrew, there are 12 words for every one word in English. And then they would choose a word that they believed fit. Maybe some words were put in there that shouldn't have been used. Verse 12 reads, "But Elohim said to Moshe and Aaron, because you did not trust me, so as to cause me to be regarded as holy by the people of Israel, you will not bring this community into the land I have given them." This is Merivah spring, disputed spring, where the people of Israel disputed with Elohim, and he was caused to be regarded as holy to them. The Hebrew says, "And Elohim said to Moshe and Aaron, seeing that you did not support me, to make me set apart to the eyes of the sons of Israel, because of this you will not bring this assembly to the land which I am giving them." Something went on at this time. Something went on at the spring that we know not of. This is the waters of Merivah, because the sons of Israel disputed with Elohim, and he was set apart in them. Merivah is said to mean disputed, but it also means contention. This was the spring of contention. Why was Moses not allowed to enter in? Many say because he struck the rock. Many say there was more that went on and there was contention, and Moshe caused confusion between himself, the people, and Elohim. Some say Moshe at one time elevated himself as leader and did not focus on Elohim. Was it this, or was there another reason? Comment below. And Numbers 22 reads, "Now Balak son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. Moab was very afraid of the people because there were so many of them. Moab was overcome with dread because of the people of Israel. So Moab said to the leaders of Midian, 'This horde will lick up everything around us, the way an ox licks up grass in the field.' Balak the son of Zippor was king of Moab at that time. He sent a messenger to Balaam the son of Bor at Petor by the Euphrates River in his native land to tell him, 'Listen, a people have come out of Egypt and settled down next to me. Therefore please come and curse the people for me, because they are stronger than I. Maybe I will be able to strike them down and drive them out of the land, for I know that whomever you bless is in fact blessed, and whomever you curse is in fact cursed.' The leaders of Moab and Midian left, taking with them the payment for divining, came to Balaam and spoke to him the words of Balak, and said to him, 'Stay here tonight, and I will bring you back whatever answer Elohim tells me.' So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Elohim came to Balaam and said, 'These men with you?' Balaam said to Elohim. 'Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent me this message. The people who came out of Egypt have spread all over the land. Now come and curse them for me, and I will be able to fight against them and drive them out. Elohim answered Balaam, you are not to go with them. You are not to curse the people, because they are blessed. It was the intent of Balak to curse the children of Israel. It was the intent to have a curse put on them through divination and stop them from moving forward. But Elohim would not have it. Elohim knows what's going on. Elohim knew what the intent was. He knows what was in their heart just as he knows what's in yours. But no matter what you do, no matter what you think, if you are committed to Elohim, you will move forward. And if you choose to go against him, there will be consequences.